What's up, Scyushi Squad? We back again some more Trove Delves, and today we're going to be talking about the differences that are coming to the Shadow Towers, because I know that a lot of you guys and gals have been asking about this. I haven't really done a video talking about the entire patch that is going to happen with the Delves, because the developers are actually constantly patching it, which just goes to show how good Game Ago is at actually responding to criticism and changing and updating constantly, because Tryon never really did stuff like this. Like, they didn't update very much. They'd update it here and there on the test server. But what I'm just trying to say is, even though the Delves are kind of poop right now, give the devs a little slack, because they are actually taking a lot of our feedback and trying to make it better. And before we get started with today's video, guys, I'm awkwardly editing this in. If you use that sign up link in the description below, you can buy anything out of the store, and it's not going to affect the price of anything. It just means that anything you buy out of the store, I'll make a percentage of it, which is an awesome way that you can support me by just playing the game. Anyways, back to the video. So without further ado, the reason why they're changing Shadow Towers, I've talked about this before, but I want to cover it again. The biggest reason that the devs want to move away from Shadow Towers is because the way that Shadow Towers work, they are actually the biggest form of lag in the game right now, because basically every time you open a Shadow Tower portal, it would create all 3 dungeons, including the boss room. All of those would generate in a second. Even if you weren't actually in the room, it was all generated. And thus, on Monday, with hundreds of players using the Shadow Towers over and over, it just constantly lagged out the server, because the server was constantly being barraged with creating new rooms, new rooms, new rooms. So that's why their solution is the Delves, because what they want to happen with the Delves is you go into the Delves, you get all the way to the end, you defeat the boss. Maybe if you're on the 3rd floor, you get the Shadow Tower chest out of it, and then you simply open the next portal, so long as you completed the dungeon in time, and you never leave. That's it. You're in that one world while you're in the Delves, and you just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper, and thus they're hoping that that is going to end up being a solution to the Shadow Towers. Now, another big welcome change that they've done with the Shadow Towers is they've actually just gotten rid of all of those extra rooms. You can fight the Shadow Tower bosses, as I'll show you guys in a moment, but the whole thing is that Shadow Towers themselves, unfortunately, are a lot less useful. As I'll go through the patch notes here. So Shadow Towers have had Titan and Lunar Soul drops removed. These can only be obtained through Delves, which they don't seem to mention about Dispoiled Divinity, but I'm pretty sure Dispoiled Divinity has been moved as well. So the Shadow Tower purple name has also been retired, but will likely reappear for Delves as a later reward, maybe based on how deep you end up going. I think that could actually be a little bit cooler than just doing Shadow Tower times. Binding Darkness and Starfire Dragon Egg fragments no longer drop in Shadow Towers, and now occasionally come from the chests found when completing Delve floors. Starfire Dragon fragments can now also be found on world bosses outside of Shadow Towers. So world bosses that you find out in the world, which means that unfortunately, if they didn't increase the drop rate of the Starfire Dragon fragments, it means that that dragon is going to be even harder to get, because as you all very well know, there is quite a bit of elite mobs or mini bosses or whatever, you know, world bosses. A lot of those would spawn in Shadow Towers in a very enclosed cluster area, and even then you would barely ever get Starfire Dragon fragments. So now that they've moved it to enemies out in the world, it means that the enemies are less common, and if the drop rates haven't changed to accommodate that, Starfire Dragon is just going to be like utterly impossible. But finding Binding Darkness is also going to be something that is strongly affected if it doesn't become a lot more consistent in the drop rates. So the fact that it says it comes from chests found when completing Delve floors, I mean, I'm assuming they're talking about just the Shadow Tower chest. Maybe they're just talking about Delve chests in general. Is that going to equal out to being something more worthwhile? Probably not. Binding Darkness, though difficult for me to get because I have really bad luck in this game, was a lot easier just farming Shadow Tower enemies. But Shadow Tower enemies have since been removed, which we'll talk about that as I show you the Shadow Towers in a moment. So Shadow Moon and Eclipse Key fragments are now no longer obtainable. Instead, you're going to get Delve fragments. And when this update goes live, so long as you end up converting any of your Shadow keys to Delve keys before January 1st of 2021, you'll be able to convert your keys basically, but you won't be able to convert your keys from Gen 1st, 2021 and on. So Shadow and Moon gems will also be removed from the game with the keys and fragments. I don't even know what they're talking about. I guess they just mean the fragments themselves or something. I don't know. But anyways, Delve key fragments now drop instead of Shadow, Moon, and Eclipse keys. So it's all just one key, which is great. Fixtures no longer affect key fragment drops. All right. The Monday adventure offering offered during events is now to find a Delve key fragment. So this is subject to change. If you have any ideas, let us know. The Shadow Tower Adventure has been replaced with Delve Adventure in Club Worlds. Chests at the end of Shadow Towers no longer require a key to... actually, they do require a Delve key to open now. Originally, it didn't require a key, but they changed it. The Shadow Escalation Golden Thread is no longer available. The Giant Shadow Panda that previously came from the thread can now be crafted at the Shadowy Market. And the Eclipse Key Tome now is the Delve Key Tome and gives Delve Keys instead of Eclipse Keys. I wanted to also see mounts. They were talking about... Let me see if I can find this. So, mounts and wings seem to use in public... Okay, no. There is... As far as I know, they've made it so that you can still get Shadow Tower mounts from the Shadow Towers, but there's going to be new mounts. Yeah, here it is. So some of the Shadow Tower bosses have crept into the Delves, and in the process have picked up some new mounts. Hydraken has been unable to move his wall underground, but the other bosses can occasionally be found there. So Daughter of the Moon has acquired 3 new mounts, while Pinata God, Spike Walker, and Weeping Prophet all have acquired 1 new mount. I'm not seeing, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure the patch said this before, but don't quote me on it, guys. You can still get all of the current Shadow Tower mounts from fighting the Shadow Tower bosses just in the Shadow Tower, but in order to get the new mounts, you have to get those from the Delves. Yeah, which... Let's actually move into the Shadow Tower here so we can talk about this. Let's just open Weeping Prophet, for example. I love this change. Not only is it going to cost a lot more flux to end up opening them, but that makes sense because if we just open Ultra Spike Walker here, you're going to see that there is no longer any, like, there's nothing else. It's just the boss room, which is something that I've thought Shadow Tower should have been since the dawn of time, because all of the arenas up to the Shadow Tower boss were pretty pointless outside of Starfire Fragments and Binding Darkness, which obviously has ended up being completely changed, right? So that's pretty cool, but where is the issue of people just constantly creating the boss rooms over and over now, right? Especially if they're trying to end up getting the mounts. I mean, again, don't quote me on it. Maybe they just moved all of the mounts into the Delves. Hopefully I can try and get that confirmed, or if somebody 100% knows, you can leave it in the comments. But I'll have to go through all of the patch notes again when it goes to the live server. There's just so many different patch notes all separated in different forum threads and stuff that it's really difficult to keep up with it all. But anyways, what ends up happening now is we kill, like, let's just kill Spike Walker here. No problem, because I'm, like, super powerful. Okay, am I not? I must not be rocking all my best gear or something. Oh, I'm not rocking my best ally because I was using the Dragon Pup to regen Flask, right. But anyways, let's defeat him. Okay, cool. Now we'll use the new Delve key in order to end up opening the chest, because that's the only way we can open it. We'll grab all of the items, and here's the cool thing. If you're trying to go for the Shadow Tower badge, not only would it be a lot easier to just open, go to the boss room, and then go to the next one, the next one, the next one, because there's Shadow Tower badges where you have to kill like 300 Shadow Hydraken on normal, hard, and ultra, and you gotta do each of those separately. It doesn't all work cascading down. Like, you can't just do one ultra and it counts towards the hard and normal badge for some dumb reason. So that's 900 times that you gotta defeat Hydra, and then another 900 times you gotta defeat Dread. I hated these badges. They were awful, and out of the whole time that I was grinding the Dread, I don't think I ever got the Dread mount once. Ridiculous. But anyways, now it's going to end up being that much easier to end up grinding those badges, right? Oh ho ho, it gets even sweeter. They actually added this table, which is a dungeon reset switch. So we pop that, turn around, and the cursed skulls are reset. Now, the Shadow Tower chest, unfortunately, isn't reset. I would love to see that being something that we could constantly fight for over and over again, because then I feel that there would be no incentive for people to constantly open new Shadow Tower portals. But I still feel that as it is right now, unless people already have all of the mounts, because again, I can't 100% confirm if you still get the mounts out of these chests or not. Only the people that are going for the badges are going to use that reset. For everybody else, they're just going to go into the next portal and open another, you know, another Spike Walker over and over again. Or, well, not Spike Walker, like Hydra or Dread, because those are the ones for the badges. But I'm just using that as an example because I think that if this chest was repeatable, that would be great. Especially the chest loot has already been nerfed. You don't get Titan Souls or anything out of them anymore, so there's not much point. But the fact that you can fight the boss again over and over again is good, outside of the fact that you're only doing it for the badges. You're not doing it for loot or anything, which is kind of disappointing because in a lot of ways, I feel like if that chest reset, it would probably be one of the most effective ways of grinding in the game, outside of the fact that you can't get crystal gear in the Shadow Towers, obviously. But I think that would actually be really cool if the chest would reset over and over. You would drain through keys, thus the delve keys would become, you know, a lot more difficult to get because they have a really good sink for them. Like, there'd be a lot more supply on demand for them, even though, I mean, they're not tradable. But or are these tradable? I don't think so. No, can't be traded. Okay. But I just personally think that if this chest was repeating, maybe that would be pretty cool, you know, because then you could just keep farming for gear. Shadow Towers themselves might end up being something that mid to low tier players would repeat just to end up getting some Shadow, maybe Radiant or Stellar gear so that they could build themselves up to then go into the Geode surface and start farming for crystal and stuff like that, right? But, I mean, that's just my 2 cents towards it. Either way, I do like the changes to the Shadow Tower outside of the fact that obviously the Lunar Souls aren't here anymore and the Titan Souls and stuff. And again, I'd love to have a confirmation of the mounts, the old Shadow Tower mounts. None of the new ones are going to end up working out in here, but maybe the old ones will. I don't know. Because if Hydra isn't in the new, like, no, I guess, yeah. I guess that's true. So the Shadow Tower mounts must still carry over in the Shadow Tower loot because Hydra isn't in the Delves right now. So the only way that you could get his mount would be defeating him in the Shadow Tower, right? Big brain moment. Anyways, what do you guys think? I think that it's a welcome change, and the fact that we can repeat the boss over and over for the badges anyways, I think is going to be very, very welcome to the servers. It should mitigate a lot of the lag, but I do still think there's a little bit too much reason for people to constantly open Shadow Tower portals, but at least it's not creating like 60 different rooms every time, right? So it's going to end up working out. Anyways, thanks for watching. Smash like, sub for more, buy the merch you want to support the channel, and have yourselves a great day. Sound warm, stay epic, gamers.